Hey there, Goa fans. Mark DJ Solitaire here with episode 62 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly series in which I share in every episode one of my favorite tracks from the 1990s Goa Trance psychedelic dance movement. We're currently looking at tracks that I first came across in the 96-97 season. And today we're going to look at a track that I first heard in January 97. We'll go back to some other ones in the autumn of 96, but I wanted to change things up a little bit here. A label we haven't looked at, one of the artists we haven't looked at, and so on and so forth. Now I remember, big surprise, the first time that I heard this track was towards the end of January 97. I think it was around mid, probably third weekend or so of January. It wasn't quite at the end, wasn't a bit in the middle, but I was feeling a little bit dejected and stuck in London, and I heard that Tsuyoshi was going to be playing in Paris. And I thought, you know what, I need a bit of a break, I need some different vibes. So the Eurostar had just started. That's the train that goes, under the water from London to Paris, so it's about 3 hours. So it was new, it was pretty cheap because people were a little bit worried, as was I, about being underwater for 20 minutes. And so I got a really cheap ticket. I had a friend who I was able to stay with, who I had known in Japan. And so we went. So it was a Transbody Express party. It was being held at Gibus, this club, and Tsuyoshi was able to get me on the guest list. And I remember this opening track because it just blew my mind. And I heard him then start his sets. At least I heard at least one more set in Tokyo a month later, and he opened with this one as well. So what I think that he used to do, which is a concept I love, is that he would start off with a track that others didn't really have. So this was before the release of this track. So it probably came out in February, maybe a bit later in 97. But this is the track Project Oblivion by Conspiracy Theory, and it came out on Phantasm. Now, the two artists are Jean Borelli from Orion and Sid Shanti, who we heard a few tracks ago with that track that he did with Andre and also Simon Posford. So, I mean, as soon as I heard this track, I was just completely blown away. Wanted it, didn't get it, didn't know Tsuyoshi well enough to ask. And I absolutely loved everything about it. And the thing again is that once I got my hands on the track and I was listening to it on my home system, I was like, it doesn't sound the same. I mean, it's still amazing, but the impression that you get when you're hearing this music on a big system is absolutely not the same. It was really, the voices that you hear in this one, some of the anthemic riffs, and the overall vibe. I mean, it really communicates on a different level when you hear this on a big system. I think it's a masterpiece. So I think we should get listening to this great track. So it is called Project Oblivion by the short-lived, regrettably, collaboration Conspiracy Theory. Let's get this started. Cool little opening. Sounds a little bit prana-like as well, isn't it? A bit of that scarab kind of sound. And then, this is one of the things I love. Just this setting the energy with this tone, and then that kind of cicadas on DMT kind of sound. And then, so I mean, already on a big system, you can imagine in that psychedelic space how this just sounds like voices. And the really strong rhythm here is really effective. And I really like they're all talking with each other, eh? Notice that. That just like that one note deviation over there really gives it a lift. There's another one there, right? Love the way things happen on offbeats as well. And then get that new little bouncing up and down figuration. So there's that lower riff as well, which adds this kind of insistent drive to it. And then another one. Right, and again, that up and down energy, which has this kind of triumphant, but again, slightly anguished quality to it. And then this. And they just keep adding things in this next round here. Pull something away. Again, that just shows up in the middle of. And you get that up and down stuff along with that little bird warble up there. And now, I think it's going to be this wonderfully insistent riff here. There's a couple of ways you can hear that. I mean, I hear this, both sort of a triumphant expression, but it's also like that's the message that's being beamed down. And then there's that space to breathe after you've received or expressed that transmission. Cool percussive stuff. It does have shades of prana, doesn't it? No wonder Tsuyoshi liked it. Really effective. Again, all the registers that are playing out here. The use of percussion. Something different. Really, I just always heard this really alien kind of sounds in here. I love how they're using percussion here to bring things in. And that bass lining. Build up again. Again, with the major and minor intervals, it's just got that sort of inquisitive but also uplifting quality to it. We've got two different riffs that are going up and down here, and that one was going a bit higher there. just sort of the again the different frequencies that you get there, right? Where you got sort of lower mid and then much lower one, that higher one. Listen to the rhythm of this one here. Great little shift happening here. What's going on with the rhythm there with those hi-hats? Just brilliant. Such a great riff. And the kick. Notice how that's like answering the previous one. Hear the relationship between the two. Now they're both sort of in conversation together. That voice is just going on and on. And listen, all the frequencies. I mean, I really love the way that her percussive stuff was going on, just ended there. All this stuff is going on. The echoes. There's no faint that is in the background. And then what a track. And as you can imagine, I was really going off in Paris when I first heard that. I mean, I was excited to be in Paris. Tsuyoshi was there, you know, and dropping this. And it just really felt, as it did back in the day, like we're on the edge. There's this evolutionary edge and push as the music is evolving and new sounds are coming and you're hearing things that you haven't heard before. Um, you know, even if there's those sounds they say, oh, you know, that sounds a bit like Prana or whatever, it's the whole story is just like something you haven't heard before. And I just remember that impression. I mean, it really struck me. And then in early February, I think it was at Aurora Psychedelica, February 97. I'll be talking about that party because it was a big one. It was a 14-hour party, very big scale, and beginning of the end in a way, because of the scale and various implications around it. So, and yet, I still remember that Tsuyoshi started with this one and played a blinding, very different kind of set. And I mean, this one's a masterpiece. I reached out to Maestro Borelli and just asked if he had any memories, and he said everything was pretty hazy and you know, in the smoky haze of the atmosphere and the time. You know, that's the names. Those names just kind of came up in conversation, you know. So there was nothing really particularly, you know, this like clear message that they were communicating. But there certainly is musically, as I said. I mean, really get that sense of these riffs and these patterns, like these computer programs or mathematical quantum formulas that are being beamed down, whether it's that wah, wah, wah kind of voice that's there or some of those up and down figurations. I mean, there's really some fascinating harmonic and spatial relationships that seem to come through in these riffs. So a track that I really, really love. I played in the last year and a half or so. Really great one. And one which you'll get to listen to again when I sign off in a few seconds. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Mark, DJ Solitaire, going to leave you now with the complete track Project Oblivion by Conspiracy Theory.